Just shared it.
Awesome. Happy Friday, everyone. We are now live for our weekly Facts and Snacks Facebook Live show. I'm super pumped. We've gotten through Christmas. Merry or happy belated Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays to everyone that is out there. We've been talking all year about preparing for the new year, and now we're only less than a week away before we are in 2020. How crazy is that? So through the holidays, I hope you guys have been getting as much done as possible. I know I've been trying my best to get some last minute things done, but you know how that goes when you have, time to spend with family, you have little ones. A couple of announcements before we bring on our amazing guest speaker that we have. So what are those things? Oh my gosh. The mentorship program that is still available for you guys to come in and register, tell a friend, tag a colleague, someone that wants to make money from home, someone that is looking to bring in an extra stream of income, or an aspiring virtual assistant, or just a new virtual assistant that is less than 6 months old that needs some assistance. Come join our community. I promise it will definitely be worth your time and your money. It will be an amazing investment for you. So make sure that you continue to follow the page and go ahead and register and join us for that. And that's really the only announcement that I have right now that I can think of. I was just telling Danielle before the show, I am everywhere. Like literally my mind is everywhere, but we're going to keep on pushing through. So I want to go ahead and bring Danielle on. I'm super excited to have her because we're going to be talking about a topic or topics that is really, I feel like, not looked at enough, a little bit of underutilized, and people just push it to the side. But this may be the main reason and cause on why your business is not performing at its best. And so I want to make sure that you guys are taking notes and that you're asking questions. So if you're joining us live, make sure that you drop your questions below. Don't be shy. I promise you, no question is a dumb question. If you're looking to, better yourself in 2020, then you want to make sure that you take advantage of Danielle. And then if you're watching this on replay, still drop your comments below because we will come back and have the conversation we need to have with you regarding whatever question that you have. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Danielle to the stage. Woo-hoo. Hey, Danielle, how are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I am so good. I'm everywhere, but I'm good. And the reason I'm going to keep telling you guys that is I want to be as honest and transparent as possible. So if I pause, I'm trying to get all my thoughts in one place. And that's why I'm going to take notes from you today, because that's probably part of the reason why I'm everywhere right now. I do this for my clients for a living, but then when it comes to my personal life and my business, sometimes it doesn't work like that. So Danielle is an organizational strategist, which is amazing. And we're going to be talking about time management and productivity. How, what can we do to become more productive as business owners? What are some good practices and techniques to manage our time? So that's what I actually want to start with, is time management. So this is something that a lot of new business owners struggle with. And to be honest, a lot of seasoned business owners struggle with as well. So can you kind of talk to us through a couple of best practices, or I don't know if you have like a process, or what does that look like on different things we can do to, use our time a little bit better?
Okay, sounds good. So the first thing I always tell people is to take good care of you. And people don't expect to hear that, right? So they're like, tell me what I need to do and how I need to do it. But actually, I can't tell you anything unless you are taking good care of yourself. So that looks like some people reference it as self-care. Some people think, I need a bath every day. Some people need quiet time every day. I don't care what it is, but there's something that you need every day so that you can operate as your best self. So that's what I always recommend, is to take good care of you. And once you take good care of yourself, then you can pour into other people. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. It's not possible.
You know what? I love that. And before you keep going, I decided this year in 2019, I started self-care, and it has been the best thing that I've done, because I've been the best version of me for my family, for my business, and everyone around me. And I wake up at 4:00 in the morning because that's the only quiet time I get in a day from everybody and everything. So that's my choice. And then I also go to the gym, and I started eating better. And I feel amazing. I dropped 45 pounds this year. I feel great. My husband, thank you. So me and my husband, actually, we did it together. We've dropped over 100 pounds this year together.
Wow.
And that's just eating better. And, as far as me, just self-care as a mommy and a business owner, I wake up in the morning and I go to the gym. I enjoy doing that. So whatever that looks like for you, it may be crocheting, or whatever that is, go find what that is, because you will truly be a much happier person if you take some time for yourself, which we all do. I know it's hard to do, but you need to fit it in your schedule.
Right. That's so true. So yeah, so take good care of yourself, and then like Jasmine said, create a good fit schedule. So I'm all about, making sure I'm taken care of, but if I don't like write down what it is that I'm supposed to do, and you don't know when to do it or how to do it, then it doesn't matter, right? So that's the next step. It's like creating a good fit schedule, and the schedule has to have 3 things. And these 3 things are what I like to call non-negotiables. So like no matter what happens in each day, like these things must happen in order for me to be my best self. So like Jasmine just said, like hers is going to the gym and eating healthy and those types of things. So for me, that looks like a daily quiet time. That looks like daily physical activity. Even if it's just like a 1-mile walk, I do something every single day. And the last thing is spending intentional time with my family. So I don't care like if anything else gets done each day, those 3 things get done every single day, because that's what's most important to me. And when you make time for things that are important to you, you start to see your goals and dreams actually come to life.
Oh my gosh, you hit it on the head. I hope you guys, so we have a couple of you guys that are on there looking, and I want you guys to comment below, like, do you currently have a good fit schedule? Are you struggling in this area? And it's okay if you are, because guess what? As entrepreneurs, as small business owners, the only way for us to grow is to fall and make mistakes, right? I mean, it's okay. We've all done it. I mean, there are areas I'm struggling. We're all struggling in different areas, so it's okay. So I would love to hear from you guys what your current schedules look like. Do you need help with that? What does that look like? And routine is very important too. I'm glad you mentioned that. So with me going on my whole journey this year, I was able to develop a routine really on its own. Because don't they say like after it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? That's pretty much what happened for me from February on. I was like, wow. So I'm used to waking up at 4 o'clock. I'm just used to doing things. Now it's just part of my daily schedule, like you mentioned. And I just do it by nature. Like you go to the bathroom by nature. You remember how to ride a bike. It's the same thing.
Right.
And so I challenge you guys to figure out that for you and see what that looks like. Again, everybody's schedules are different. So what may work for Danielle and what may work for me, and that may not work for you. It may be something different, but we need to figure out what that is. And so I would love to hear from you guys if you guys want to share, and drop that below.
Good. So another thing about the schedule that I need to mention that's so super helpful is time blocking within that schedule. So a lot of times what we'll do is like, oh, I have a great schedule. I'm going to work every day from 8 to noon. That's awesome. But what are you going to do within those times? So like for entrepreneurs, I always recommend having a CEO day. So this is the day where you're going to like sit down and handle the things in your business, not your client's business, not anyone else's business, but you're going to make your schedule. You're going to make do your billing, your things to make sure that you're moving where you need to move in your business. Then every day has a purpose. So like Monday is admin day, Tuesday is client calls day. Like you need to have a specific schedule for yourself and your business so that you can get to where you want to be. Because like I said earlier, if you pour into everyone else and you don't pour into yourself, then you're going to be at the same exact spot this time next year. Your clients are going to be soaring, and we don't want that. We want everyone to soar together.
Oh, that is such a big one, because I remember when I first started my business, and that is how I felt. I was not how I felt, that's what I was doing. I was so busy pouring into all of my clients and their success. I didn't have time to do my own. And that's when I started outsourcing myself, because I'm like, I still need things done. My clients need to be serviced, which for me, it was just me at the time. I didn't have a team. So I'm like, I need to take care of them. I have my kids. There's only so many hours in a day. I still need to be a wife, still need to take care of things at home. But then I still need to do some marketing and admin things for my business as well. That is when I started to outsource. So that is another thing, in addition to what Danielle is saying, that I feel like is important, is to start to scale. And that's why we always talk about it's never too early to scale. And this is why, because you're one person, you're starting your business, or even if you're seasoned. I've talked to some business owners that have been wearing 50 hats for way too long, but they've also been in the same spot for as long as they've had their business. They haven't grown because they're not able to. You're only one person. You're only going to be able to do so much before you start dropping the ball on something. So to prevent that, take the advice and the suggestions that, the tips that Danielle is giving you, and start implementing those along with outsourcing. You guys know I love to talk about that. It never goes away. Everything we talk about, it all comes back to the same place: scaling and outsourcing your business so that you can focus on these things, right? Yeah.
That's good advice. So also with outsourcing, some advice that I have that I'll just throw in that has nothing to do with time management or a little bit to do with it. There's three things: outsourcing, delegating, and automating. So if you do those three things right now in your business, like, you will go to the next level almost immediately. So outsourcing is like, okay, this is how I like to look at outsourcing. These are my strengths. This is what I'm super good at. This is what I love. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay in this zone of genius. Okay. And then I'm going to outsource my weaknesses or my not so strong areas, right? And you outsource those areas to other people so that you're spending less time doing things you don't like so that you can spend more time doing things that you like, right? So after we outsource, we delegate. So like delegating is like, hey, I might not outsource this to someone else, but hey, honey, husband, mom, dad, can you actually take care of this task for me so that we can do whatever, the end state goal is? So delegating just a specific task, not necessarily outsourcing it, to a subcontractor, but delegating a task within your household. Like everybody has a chore or how that looks. And then the last thing is automate. So if you automate your onboarding process, your onboarding process, your offboarding process, your canned emails, all of that stuff should be automated. So when somebody comes to me for a call, I'm not sitting there, oh my goodness, I got to get back to them. No, the process is automated and it just frees up so much of your time. So you outsource, automate, and delegate. This is what I like to just call a bonus because it's about time management, but it's not the main purpose of the conversation. But that right there will just free up a tremendous amount of time. So I'm glad that you said that, Jasmine.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot of people on. Like, are you guys grabbing these jewels that Danielle is dropping? Because she is spilling the tea for free. You guys are getting this information for free, guys. I hope you're taking notes. She's giving you the blueprint to be successful in your business. These are things that you need to get to the next level. Everyone wants to make $1 million. Everyone wants to make their first 6 figures or even 5 figures. And if you're not there yet, these are things that you need to be doing to help you get there. This is not 100% the answer, but it's a big chunk of the answer to help you to that. So I hope you guys are taking notes because you guys are quiet. I hear from you. So I hope that you're taking all of this in. So I love that you said that. I'm all for everything you said. Automation, delegating, outsourcing. It's really the other way around. You said it: outsourcing, delegating, and automation. I am for it 100% because if you're not doing those things, what are you doing in your business? Seriously, like, what are you doing? I love that so much. So we talked a little bit about time management. And so really a lot of these things that we're talking about help us to kind of become more productive. But let's talk more about productivity because I run across business owners all the time that are like, well, I need to become more productive or I'm not using my time right. And I loved how you mentioned the block scheduling because I do that as well. Mm-hmm. And I talk to people about it all the time. I'm like, they'll mention it and I'm like, well, this is not 100% my area of expertise, but let me tell you what I'm doing and what works for me, and I may refer them to someone like you. So talk to us a little bit more about productivity and just some different things we can do to become more productive because like we mentioned earlier, we have some solopreneurs that are on here. They're wearing 50 hats. It's hard. And at the end of the day, if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. If it was supposed, if the entrepreneurship journey was supposed to be easy, everyone would be doing it. So it's not. So we have to take the challenge and do everything we can to, be the best we can be and be successful in our businesses. So let's talk productivity.
Okay. First, before we talk productivity, let's debunk this myth. Productive does not equal busy. So I always get people messaging me, oh my gosh, I'm so productive because I'm doing 100 things in a day. No, you're not. You're just busy, right? So we don't want to be busy. We want to be productive. Productive means that you are using your time wisely in order to get to your end state goal. So what does that look like? 3 things. I'm in the 3s today. I like it. So 3 things. Number 1, and I'll elaborate as I go. Number 1 is to set a goal. Number 2 is to create a good fit plan. And number 3 is to create actionable steps to achieve that goal. So this is what happens. I'm going to talk from a place because I know a lot of people are in this place. I'm overwhelmed. I'm not meeting my goals. I don't know how to get to where I want to be. I know that I need help, but I'm not able to do X, Y, or Z. So here's the goal. You set a goal. It's a big picture. I want to achieve X by this date. Okay. After you set the goal, you need to create. This is the step that so many people miss. They set the goal, but they don't create a plan to actually achieve that goal. So what I like for planning is project management tools. So I'm a big ClickUp fan, but you can use ClickUp, you can use Trello, you can use Asana, you can use Monday, Basecamp, Teamwork, the list goes on and on. But put your ideas somewhere and track these goals. So if the big goal is I want to launch a course, okay, great. How do I launch the course? What do I do to actually bring that idea to life? And you just go through and you create a plan. Okay, so once you create the plan is still like, people are usually at that point, they're like, yeah, I'm ready. And I'm like, no, you're not. So the next thing you do after you get a plan is you create actionable steps. So on this day, by this date, this person will do this task in order to achieve this goal. So, for example, an actionable step could be, I will make a landing page. Okay, so my goal is to have my course. My plan is by making a landing page. The steps to making a landing page is, I don't know, you can go to leadpages.com. Someone needs to make the copy. Someone needs to integrate it into social media. Like, those are all actionable steps to actually bring that plan to life. Sometimes what we do is we like take time away and we just like make a plan and then it doesn't get done because we need to really break it down into small, bite-sized, achievable steps so that it can actually be brought to life. So those are my tips for being productive. If you create good fit goals with the awesome plan, and I always say a good fit, you'll hear me say that a lot because your goals and my goals are not synonymous. A plan for you and a plan for someone else are not the same because we're all unique and we're all different. And then when you create those actionable steps, then that's when you'll start to see growth in whatever you're doing. So that's the best way to stay productive, and automate it in a project management tool so that you are held accountable for what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys hearing this stuff? This is so good. Yeah, I couldn't live without my project management. So I actually use Asana. I like ClickUp too. I use that with a lot of clients, but for me, myself, and my business, I use Asana. I have my Google Calendar, and I use Evernote. And if I don't have those three things, like, I would be lost right now. That is how I keep up with everything in my personal life and in my business. So I love how you mentioned that. That is so, so important. Yes. Instead of having a sticky note like this is probably what you don't want to do. If you have kids or a dog like I do, you probably hear them in the background. This is going to be scribbled up with crayon. Somebody's going to come in here. My husband may think it's trash, right? So you want to make sure that you don't have things lying around. In the project management tool, you can get an app on your phone. You can have it on your desktop. It's really, really amazing. So if you're not using one, make sure that you guys use one. And she gave you a lot of good examples. I'm actually going to put them here in the chat. We have Basecamp. We have ClickUp. We have Asana. Trello.
People feel like they're not ready for that. And so what I always say is, if you have an iPhone, you can go to the app on the phone. It's already included, and it says, I think it's to-do list or something like that. And you just start to write it down. And what's so neat about that app is that once you write it down, you can click it. And it's just something about clicking it and knowing that you've actually achieved the goal that motivates you to keep moving forward. So maybe you think, I'm not to a project management tool, Danielle, that is too much. That's okay. Start somewhere. You have to take a step, and you may fall, shake it off, dust it off, and keep going. But start somewhere and start at a good fit. Remember, a good fit place for you.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll tell you guys my story a little bit. And I like just sharing stuff because everything I'm telling you guys is stuff I learned along the way. I didn't have all the answers at first. These are things I had to figure out, or it just happened. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And then I adapted and I adjusted. So I'm a checklist oriented person. So what does that mean? I like to have my list of things to do, and I have a sense of accomplishment when I'm able to check things off my list. I'm also the type of person where I like to see things from A to Z. So Danielle, when you were giving the steps earlier, as far as to being productive, I'm like, that's me, but I had to learn that because I would see the big goal, but then when I first started my business, I didn't create those small, actionable, bite-sized steps to get there. It took me about 2 years to get to that point. And now my brain is wired to do that. But at first I didn't understand. And I was wondering, well, I want to have this launch and I'm up to the launch, but nothing's done. Why? Because I didn't really understand. And so these are things. So really you have to just kind of see how you are as a person. Everybody's different. So once you identify, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, then you can put all of this into play on what Danielle is talking about. And if you don't understand yourself as a person, which, sometimes it takes a long time for some of us to do that. We kind of come out of our teenage years into our 20s. We're still trying to figure it out. And then our 30s, we're like, okay, now we're really starting to figure it out. So this is not something, if you're like 20 something years old, that you may understand yet, which is okay. But we're telling you this stuff so you can start looking out for this, putting things in perspective. So we don't expect you to have all the answers, but we're giving you the tools so that when you do start figuring things out and putting things in perspective, you can use these tools to get to where you're trying to go and where you're trying to be. Right. So I hope that makes sense. Well, that is amazing. I mean, you hit on everything today, and there's a couple of things I'm like, okay, I knew it, but I'm like, I need to do it myself. I'm like, I know it's like one of those things, I know I need to do it, and then you just don't do it for whatever reason. It just sits in the closet and it collects dust. So I appreciate for some of us it's reminders, for some of us it's absolutely new information that we can actually take and use. So we appreciate it so much. I have like 2 more questions for you. Okay. The first one is, what is your inspiration? So I always like to ask this question. What keeps you going in your business? What is your motivation and your drive to keep pushing? Because it gets hard, it gets tough. And so some people want to give up, they want to throw in the towel, but I always tell everyone to go back to that place on why you started your business. What motivated you to even get going in the first place? And that should be your drive to keep you pushing. So I want to hear what yours is.
Okay, so yes, so my inspiration is one, okay, so I'm a Christian, so I love the Lord. So like my business was conceived from him, right? Like it was a vision and I brought it to life. Secondly, my family. So like I'm married and we have a son, and I really just want financial freedom, time freedom, all of those things. And so that inspired me to start my business. That inspired me. There's like a few things when you start a business, but those 2 specific things specifically inspired me to step on and start my business, get to where I'm at and doing what I do. And I also had a skill set, right? So I had a skill set that I was being hired for repeatedly, right? Repeatedly for this skill set. And I'm like, okay, all right, this is something. People are hiring me to do this all the time. I don't have a business. So, okay, I prayed. My husband's on board. I want a new lifestyle for us. How do I bring it to life? So that's how everything came to be. But yeah, that's how I was inspired.
Wow, I love that. I think I've heard a little bit of everything, but I haven't heard hey, I had a skill set that I kept getting hired for, so why not make it a business? Yeah. Hey, I'm good at braiding hair. Why not open my own? It doesn't have to be a salon, but why not, rent a chair somewhere where I can make money doing something I love to do, but then I'm really good at as well. So I love how you mentioned on that. That's really awesome. All right. And then my last question is, do you have any last tips or tricks for the audience on time management, productivity, just anything that you would like to leave with the audience? Because you've really touched on a lot of things today that, again, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the live, have gone unnoticed. People leave it in their closets for dust, or some people may, or, they may just not know. So do you have anything else that you want to add on to what you've given us already?
Yes. So a second ago, you were talking about, like, you need to know yourself. So one thing that I want to advise everyone to do is to take a personality assessment. So there are so many good ones out, and a few of my favorites are the DISC assessment. The DISC assessment is a super elaborate personality assessment. It's one of my favorites. Strength Finders, and also Myers-Briggs. So take one, and it will tell you about yourself. It'll pull out things that you may not know. And secondly, I would challenge you to identify your learning style. So if you don't know, my background is in education. So I have a master's degree in education. I've taught for 7 years. Like, I'm really into education and all of that stuff. So anywho, there's 4 basic types of learning styles. And a lot of times our struggles in our business are because we don't understand how we learn. So you may be a visual learner, you may be an auditory learner, you may be a reader, or you may be a kinesthetic learner. If you don't know how you learn, none of the things that we said today will make sense to you, right? So you need to consume content how you learn it. So if you are an audio person, you need to be listening to this recording. If you're a kinesthetic learner, put it in your ears while you're running so you can retain the information. If you're a reader, if there's show notes, read the information. If you're visual, look at us while we're talking so you can digest it. But there's so many different ways to learn. And until you learn exactly how you learn and who you are, you cannot be productive or manage your time well. Like, you can do the best you can with what you have, but you won't actually operate at the optimum place that you can be. So that's the advice I can be. Recognize who you are, reckon and embrace that. It's nothing wrong with that. Like, who you are is unique and you're so special that way. And then just build on top of your unique talents and outsource those weaknesses, and you will become a beast at time management.
Oh man, I love that. I only, well, really a couple years ago, I only really identified what my learning style was. So I struggled in school sometimes when I was in like middle school and high school. I didn't know I'm a visual learner. Like I need to see it. We could talk on the phone, but I'm like, hey, can you share screens with me? Can we hop on Zoom or on Skype or something so I can see? Can you show me what you're talking about? So I love how you mentioned that, because that is so true. Because if you're learning or trying to absorb information, you may or may not be absorbing it because you don't even know what your learning style is. So I love that. And I love how you mentioned the personality assessment, because that is so true as well. What type of person are you? And that will also determine what type of clients do you need to be working with, right? So you know, like who you're going to clash with, who you're going to mesh well with. So I love how you mentioned all that. That's all important. And I know it's a lot of information today, guys, but hey, if you need help with any of this, reach out to Danielle. She's going to come back and put her information in the post. Book a consultation with her so you can get it right now. Don't wait until you're 5 or 10 years in and you keep trying to figure it out on your own. Get some help and make the investment now. That's why I bring on all the amazing guests we have, because each of them play a critical role in the success and the growth of your business and where you're trying to go. So I hope that you guys got all the jewels, because I know I did. There's a couple things, like I said, I'm like, okay, I need to get back on that. I've been slipping a little bit. But don't go into 2020 on the wrong foot, guys. Go ahead and address those mistakes now. If you know you're struggling somewhere, go ahead and get that help now. Reach out to somebody. You're not alone, and you do not have to do it on your own. So you're not the only person. Find an accountability partner. Reach out to the specialist that you need. If you need a coach, if you need a strategist, whatever you need, let's make it happen now. Don't wait until 2020 and then you're in the same place you were this year. We want to grow. We want to take strides. We want to take steps in the new year. So I don't have any closing announcements. So I won't talk to you guys again for a little bit. We have New Year next year. It'll be later in January. When we'll reconvene. But I hope you guys have amazing time with family. And I hope you guys have a good transition into the new year. And again, if you are struggling with anything that we talked about today, Danielle's going to go drop your information. Go grab a free consultation. Have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.